Hey, this is BKP with Team FYN Sports, and we continue our coaches interview, preseason coaches interviews, and we're now glad to be able to sit down with the Murphy Bulldogs head coach, David Gentry. How are you today, Coach?
I'm good. I'm great.
Coach, I will tell you something, okay? I've done about 12 preseason interviews this so far with coaches, and I'm not exactly sure on like how to go around some of the things that I want to talk to you about, because what I'd like to know first is I would like to know, one, if you'll tell us how many state championships Murphy Bulldogs have, but the real question I have in that is, how do you retool? How do you win that state championship? The guys are excited. You won and you're proud of that. That's the accomplishment for that year. How do you say, that's done, let's get back to work? So sure, how many do you have here at Murphy, and how do you make that transition to, we won, let's get back to work?
Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard because when you win a state championship, it's such an elation. It's a high that it's hard to explain. You know, you're on a high for about 2 or 3 months, and you come off of that. You know, and sometimes, it's hard to get your feet back on the ground. But we've done it 8 times. We've won 8 since I've been here. And the school has won 9. They won 1 time before I came in the 70s. But we won 8, but only one time that we were able to go back to back. It was 86 and 87. And of course I had a lot of kids. When you win them, if you've got a lot of kids coming back, I think that helps you. Or half your team coming back. You understand what I mean? If you're losing most of those players, it's hard to, because those other players think they won the state championship. You know what I mean? Those other players that didn't really win it, they think they won it. But if you've got quite a few players coming back, it's easy. So we won in 86, 87, and then we played for it in 94, won in 96. Won in 91. We were not able to go to the state championship because we were on restriction in 92, but we were 10-0 that year. We could have won it in 92. That would probably been another back-to-back. But in the 2000s, it's kind of been, like you say, on and off. You know, you win one, you play for one in 2010. You're hungry, come back and win one in 2011. You miss it in 2012, you win one in 2013. And then you win one in 2016, and then you don't win it in 17. Now it's 18. But I don't think it. Our kids know. We work them so hard, and when you come through here, you know what I mean.
Well, let me ask you this: where we're getting at is, so obviously,
you can shut that door.
If you're not on top of the hill, nobody's trying to knock you off. You got to be on top of the hill for people to want to knock you off. How do you kind of explain that to that next group that didn't, not say didn't win the state championship, but I follow what you're saying. If you graduate a large number of seniors and you're a state champion, these younger guys, how do you go into that next season saying, when you're on top of the hill, somebody's trying to take you off top of that hill. How do you re-energize and put that back together and instill to those younger guys, yeah, you're on the field, you're there in the state championship, but you're not the state champions that team was. This is a different team. How do you go about that? What do you do? Because in your success, obviously, you've been able to share that with your teams.
Well, we got a motto. I got a motto. Once you get in the year, and it goes from year to year too, as far as what we believe here. You're only good as your next game played, not your last game. So this year's team is only good as this year, not last year. It has nothing to do with last year. So that's kind of our philosophy. I mean, and so when we go out the first game, if we win it, we're only good as the next game we play. Because that game's behind us. That year's behind us. We're only good as what we do this year. And so I think with that attitude, and the coach's attitude, we don't look back. You can't look back. And so I mean, and when we come in here in January, you know, even though you're on a pretty good high, everybody's congratulating you and everything like that. But when you get out there and you start working those kids hard, put them in the weight room, put them on the floor, then they realize, hey, that's over with. We gotta work hard. We gotta look forward to this season. So they've been very good about it. We won. I think we're in West North Carolina in the last 10 years now. The last 11 years, we're the most winning program around. And we've won more games than anybody else. We've averaged more wins than anybody else. We've won more state champions. We won a heck of a lot of conference champions, and so it goes. It also helps you if you continue to win. If you plan for a state championship and then win a state championship, and then next year you play for, then those kids do what? Those kids expect to win. They expect to be playing for a conference championship. They expect to be playing for a state championship. So it's all in what your expectation is. It's all in what your mindset is. And of course, I think, you know, it goes from the top to the bottom.
Well, I think there's plenty of room, and I think my opinion is you should have a winning attitude. You should have an attitude that you want to win, and that should be the attitude. Take that. Let me go with this. 16 seniors. You graduated 16 seniors. So in all the years of your coaching, every year you got a graduating class. You wish them well, but you know the reality of how many numbers you just graduated and what has to come back on the field for the following season. So the 16 seniors you graduated, a lot of leadership, a lot of out there in the huddle. You know too well after all these years. You can coach them up all week. You can yell it in from the sideline as loud as you can, but somebody has to have some gut and leadership in the huddle. Am I correct?
Sure.
I don't want to leave anybody out, but can you highlight some of the young men that have come back this year that you see as juniors or what, maybe even sophomores that are stepping up as juniors? Who are some of the guys that are coming back that are picking up some of them leadership roles or some of the exciting things you see on the field that's translated to the field? Can you highlight some of the players?
Well, Dallas Raven, which is one of our defensive linemen, one of our top defensive linemen, he's probably going to be one of our leaders this year, and he's just a junior. He was preseason All-Western out of the Asheville Citizen. Yusuf Mogerbill is our marquee lineman. He's probably going to be one of our leaders. He's another junior. I think that he's already got 7 Division I offers, the offensive line, and we're going to play him on defense this year. So, yeah, I think he'll lead us. I think Justice Dorsey, he's a senior. He's got to be able to lead us. He's got to be able to step up and lead, and that's what you're looking at. You're looking at say, and I mentioned 2 juniors because they're very talented people, and they're very good. But I get my seniors together, and when I do, at the beginning of every year, and basically, your team is going to go by what the seniors' attitude is. I've never been around many teams that the juniors are the leaders, even though those 2 kids that I mentioned would be ones that the juniors could lead because they're outstanding players. People look up to them. But on the whole, what I try to tell my seniors, and I'm just looking at them as a group, no matter which group it is their attitude on coming to practice in the weight room in that game. Most of the time, the rest of the team will follow them. They don't have to be good football players. You understand? They don't have to be the great football players. They just got to be the positive thing of your team. They got to be the positive action of your team. If they can be just the extra point player on the extra point team, they can. But if they're a senior, I need their attitudes to be great, and and we'll probably go like they go. So Justice Dorsey's going to be good. Devontae Murray, our running back, is going to have to be good. So.
Coach, I like to ask a couple questions, and I like to do these interviews that, a lot of us that follow high school football, we know a lot about the teams, we follow the teams and enjoy it, but I always like to do the interviews with a couple things, anticipating maybe somebody's watching for the first time and doesn't know your team. How many of your players play both sides of the ball? Do you play the best 11 guys that show up on Friday night? Are you able to put a squad together where you're able to play a defense, offense? What does your field look like on Friday night as far as who's going to play football?
A combination of that. And this has been my philosophy since I've been here. We're going to play the best 11. The best 11 on both sides. And so we got a lot of kids, or quite a few kids, that go both sides. But there are some out there that if we've got a kid that, say, he starts on one side and he's at a position over here, and another kid is just as good as he is, or almost as good as he is, then sometimes we'll play the other kid to give him a rest. But if he's definitely the best of anybody in his position, he's going to play both sides as much as he can until we drag him off. And then, and that's...
No, I got it, Coach.
And then, too, you got a philosophy is you're playing both sides and you won't give that kid a rest. You give him a rest on defense or on offense. But when you really need him, who you going to play? You're going to put that kid that's the best in there. It's just like I was down to coaching clinic last week. We was talking about the same thing. And this, and I was talking about the use of the Moogerville kid, which is he's already he's AP All-State, preseason All-State team, and he can play defense. But we didn't play him last year on defense because we had enough not to be able to play him. We had enough players, those 16 seniors, that we could just play him on offense and he could just learn the offense. So this year we're going to play him both ways. And I had a coach that coached with me on the Shrine Bowl team, North Carolina Shrine Bowl team. And we were talking about going both ways. And he said, yeah, I said, Coach, we like to rest people, but he says, if I've got an offensive player that just plays offense and he can play defense, but we just won't rest him. When the other team hits the 50-yard line, he said, you know what I do? I said, come here. It's time for you to play. So when they're hitting the 50 going in, you're going to put your best people in the game.
Also, it goes without saying, he's a nice young man. I've interviewed him. I've sat down with him. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, he is.
He's a
super guy, isn't he?
Yes, he is. I've sat down with him twice, and I did not want. I understand we're talking about football, but I did not want to go without saying he's an outstanding young man. I enjoy talking with him. Got two more subjects I want to go over, and we'll let you go this afternoon, Coach. Smoky Mountain 1A Conference, Murphy, Robbinsville, Swain, Cherokee, Rossman, Andrews, and Hayesville. Talk a little bit about the conference. We'll come back later when it gets time to talk about state and stuff like. We'll talk about that then. Let's talk about the conference, the teams this year, what you're seeing in the other teams, who's made some adjustments. What do you see in this region this year?
Well, traditionally, the toughest 1A league in the state is Smoky Mountain Conference. That's what we think. That's what I think is down through the state. It's won more state championships than any other single league conference. By a long march, not even close. And we won more state championships in 2010 than anybody. And then back before that, back when I first came here with Smoky Mountain Conference, we won in 86. Swain won in 85. We won in 86, 87. Swain won in 88, 89, 90. We won in 91. Robbinsville won in 92. So from 84, 85 to 92, in this state was nothing but Smoky Mountain Conference. And then we won it in Played for it in 2010, won in 11. I might get my years mixed up. Played for it in 12, won in 13. Robbinsville won in 15, or something like that. We won in 16, won again in 18. So this league is the toughest league.
Yes, it is. Tough region. Yes, it is.
In the state. Now, if you're going to talk about the schools in the league, we'll talk about the ones that's going to make some adjustments. Hayesville's got a new coach, new coach McClure over there. They got probably a new attitude about what's going on. I think they're expected to be up. Rosman has a new coach, so they're going to be. I don't know what they'll be. I did coach against him one year in '93 when he was at Rosman. But Andrews got a lot of people coming back. We got a lot of positive things going on. At Andrews, they're real positive about what's going on. They think they'll be better. I don't think Rosman will be better. They would, but I think Hayesville thinks they're going to be better. They've got some good kids. I mean, some real good athletes over there. Andrews is going to be better. Robbinsville has got a lot of kids coming back, and they played us for the regional championship here. Swain is going to be better. They got 2,000-yard rushers back. Swain's always tough. They're one of the toughest. They're our big rival in this league. Cherokee, they got a new coach. So, don't know. Their quarterback's coming back, but I don't know. But they lost a receiver to Cross Schools. I don't know. I don't know about that much about Cherokee. But those other schools are. I know Swain, Robbinsville, Hayesville, Andrews thinks they're going to be better, and by looking at the roster and the people coming back, the player, they should be better.
Well, I know you guys are getting ready for Irwin here in a couple weeks. Let me I can't thank you enough for your time, Coach, but let me finalize with this because I always can't go away without talking about this. You celebrated your 400th win as a head coach last year. You know, you've won several, as we talked about, state titles. This year, I think the number is you're 6 wins away from being the winningest head football coach in North Carolina. Do you think about
7?
7. That's a
That's
little more pressure than I put out.
Yeah.
So
I'll take 6.
But 7. Okay, so you got 6 to tie. That's what I had. Right?
6 to tie.
7 to be the winningest.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. But 7 to be the winningest football coach, head football coach in high school history in North Carolina. You think about it, or do you get up and say next game's the next game?
Next game's the next game. I can't hardly. That's always been our philosophy, like I said before. You're only good as your next game played in the next game. How do you win 400 games? You don't certainly go start coaching in 1971 when I first became head coach. I said, well, I'm going to win 400 games, you know. See, I had an idea I was going to win 400. But you always try to win the next one. I think the media is caught up in that a lot more than I am.
Okay.
I think, and it will. I would like to go ahead. You know, I would like to accomplish that this year. But anything that state champions, anything that we do as far as 400 victories, 300 victories, whatever, you know, you never had really a chance. And you mentioned that, well, Coach, how do you get the boys off of it, or how you go off of it? You're always looking for the next state championship. And so, at the end of my career, then I can look back. But I'm not going to look back. I'm not going to look ahead right now, that far ahead. I just want to go ahead and win as many games as I can this year, like I always do, and hope that it's enough to get that record.
On that 7th game, when it does happen, can I say it like this, and let's see how you come back with it. Could I say on that 7th game, because you have to be about your young men on the field, or your success would not be what it is my opinion. Okay,
that's right.
That's my opinion. Would it be your first thought at the end of that game, when you look at the scoreboard, would it be your first thought that your team won that game? You won that game, regardless it's 406, 408. That's your first thought, and then think, hey, I've hit 407. Is your first thought, hey, these guys won? We won this game because you've been winning this game for a long time. Is that you see what I'm saying? Like if you hit that 7th game, you still got to go on to the 8th game. You got to get ready for the 9th game.
Sure.
But you'll celebrate a little bit that night, won't you?
Yeah. I usually give myself on any big game. I usually give myself till the next morning.
Get up the next morning.
And then you realize, hey, that game's over with.
That game's over.
Yeah, you got to go. You know, I'll be riding down the road and I'll be talking to the radio station out of Wise Guys out of Asheville. They got a radio station in Asheville, you know, Wise Guys. And they're real big high school. So by that time, I should be talking to them. I'll be talking to them about that game and the next game. What are you going to do, Coach, in the playoffs, you know?
Coach, first of all, we respect and we want to say how much we respect your success. But when you get a chance to sit down with you, as I have this afternoon, I get it, and I appreciate you. And you give me close with as many state championships. Some of the guys that's went on. You know what? If they're going on to be doctors, they're successful. So I don't want to mess that. Say, you know what I'm saying? These guys, a lot of these guys, doctors, lawyers, successful. Who are some of the guys that's going on to the next level in football that you've had an opportunity to coach?
I'm not really. A lot of kids have gone on to play college ball, but not big college ball. We're not a big college ball.
Right.
We don't. This is a small single A. It's not a small single A, but it's a single A school with about 470, 480 kids in it, and we don't produce a whole lot of big time players. Carl Pickens was probably the best known player to come out here. He came out. He was All-American at Tennessee. He was Pro Bowler at Cincinnati. He won, and so he was All-American in high school. He was probably the greatest athlete I've ever coached. Sean Johnson, he came out and started 3 years at state. Was their state captain. And so those are two of the kids that I can remember that's gone big time. We've had a lot of kids go out Division II, Division III ball. My Thomas Nelson, my defense coordinator, was a little All-American at Emory Henry. And so we've had that kid right there. Now that's right there. That's the Minnesota Vikings. Tyree Allen. He tried out for them. He's played overseas. So we've had quite a few kids to do well, you know. But not many kids. Only one kid to reach. He didn't make that. He didn't make the Vikings. He just tried it. Only one kid to get to the pros, and that's Carl. And Yusuf has a chance to make his mark in college, and I don't know where from there, but he certainly has a chance to make a high. We're talking about a high-end college player.
Coach, I appreciate you very much. We look forward to seeing you and your team on Friday nights. This is BKP with Team FYN Sports, sitting here today with head coach David Gentry from the Murphy Bulldogs. We're out.